Welcome back to another episode of Important Miscellaneous Talks. I'm your host, Glassford Crossfield, and today how do you pronounce your last name?
Fahmy, Fahmy.
Fahmy. What's your ethnicity?
I'm Egyptian.
Oh,
Yeah,
interesting. So we
yeah.
got Chris Femi. I was gonna say Fami.
Fahmy. Everyone says Fahmy. If you're really Egyptian, you say Fahmy. But Fahmy, Fahmy, all good, man. I say Chris Fahmy.
So growing up, did you ever were you interested in the same kind of topics you talk about now on TikTok?
That's a really good question, man. So yeah, I mean, just for people that don't know me, I have like a bit of a TikTok following, um, about 3.2 million followers right now on TikTok. And it's funny because I started it because I wanted to build my acting stuff out, right?
Mhm.
Um, but specifically to answer your question, I love history, man. Ever since I was a little kid, like I didn't like the kind of history that um I was learning in class really because well, let me correct that. When I was in grade 5, okay, for some reason this was in grade 5, I had this world history class, and I was so interested in it. People like, you're that young, you're in the bathroom, you're reading like comics. I was reading the book. Like I was so into history back then. I
Nerd.
loved it. Yeah, yeah. Bro, my parents were like, "What the hell are you doing, bringing your book into the bathroom?" You're sitting there. I spent like an hour just reading the history book. So that's what I was doing. I loved it, but when I got to like grade 9, 10, 11, 12, like whenever we did history class, I hated it. I thought it was the most boring stuff. They focus so much on the dates and not the stories. You know what I mean? So I was
Mhm.
like, this is just not for me. And then I thought I didn't like history until I reignited that spark like a few years ago. I kind of just started immersing myself in history books, all that kind of stuff. And then I just started telling stories on TikTok, and it seemed to catch on.
I actually loved history in high school. That
Nice.
that that was really my thing. U.S. history, global. So my question to you would be: do Canadians learn about U.S. history?
Dude, Canadians learn about Canadian history, and it's not, in my opinion, the most interesting. Maybe I'd be more interested in it now, but no, I personally think American history is a lot cooler. I
Yeah,
love learning about the revolution, 1776. Like I love all that stuff. I love fighting the British because they made taxes. It was like taxation without representation. I mean,
Do
I'm
do you
not a
know the
fan of
first U.S. president?
Washington.
The 16th.
Oh, I know. I don't know like that, bro.
Okay, no, I mean that's Lincoln. That's why I asked.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah. No, I don't know specific like that, but
okay.
like I know the stories, man. I don't know the numbers. I never learned any of the like the specific dates, except I know
Mm.
76. But yeah, like I don't like paying taxes. So I like what the Americans did, man. You guys have, in my
Oh,
opinion,
okay. Oh, we can
yeah,
talk about Canada because honestly, a lot of Americans see Canada as this holy grail of a country, and I don't hate Canada, but I really think that a lot of Americans really have this inflated sense of what Canada really is.
yeah, yeah. So let me put it to you this way, man. Canada is, I guess if we're talking like on the political spectrum, which I think is probably a good way to look at, to compare the two, Canada is definitely much more socialist. Okay. So if you are into that, you probably would like Canada more, right? If you, how do I say this? As an entrepreneur, I own a lot of businesses, right?
Mhm.
So me as an entrepreneur, I work really hard. I work more than a lot of people, but fortunately, my businesses have grown and I've been able to kind of build my businesses up and stuff like that. I don't like to pay high taxes. So that's kind of, and also I hate how the government spends money. That's a whole different conversation.
Mhm.
I think the Canadian government has a lot of things to fix. I do not see it as a utopia. I know some Americans do. I know there are times where, Donald Trump was, as soon as he became president, people are saying we're going to move to Canada. I don't think anyone came because Canada is not that, in my opinion, not that cool of a spot, especially if you're used to American values,
Right.
right? So I like the American values. I'm definitely a fan of the States. So personally, for me, if I had a choice, I would live in the States. I'm working right now to get my visa because of my business purposes and stuff like that. But um, I don't see it as a utopia. I know some people do, and that's fine. But you know, I mean, if you're really into like the more left leaning, I guess, socialist kind of stuff, going to California is probably a much better bet than going to Canada, right? So that would be kind of my whole thing. If you really want that, go to California. Don't come up to Canada. The weather's not as good. You're still paying really high taxes. It's just not, I don't think it's the best spot, man. And especially now, just one thing people in America don't realize is there's no freedom of speech in Canada. Okay.
Oh
Like,
my goodness. I try to tell
yeah,
people this. They call me
yeah.
crazy. I
It's
try to
true.
tell people this.
It's true, man. There's no, the level of freedom that you have in America is a lot different than what we have in Canada. The
Yeah.
government recently, although I think it got repealed, they're trying to push something so that anything the government didn't like, they could take off the internet, which is scarily, like frighteningly close to like, China.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that to me is not really I I don't really like though. I don't
Censorship.
share those values. What was that?
The censorship.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's one of the most messed up things. Look, I might have not agreed with a lot of stuff that like, I mean, I agree with a lot of, I hate all politicians, just like, let me get that out there. But whether I agree with Trump or not, the fact that he got taken off, I think is really messed up. I don't think he should have gotten taken off. I think I don't know, man. I have my own tinfoil hat theories about all this kind of stuff, but yeah, I think this whole censorship thing is getting taken way too far.
Yeah, and one thing I think a lot of Americans are growing to appreciate is Trump's authenticity, because now with Biden in office, um, a lot of people feel like he's a tad disingenuous with some of the things that he was, willing to offer in order to gain the presidency. With
Mhm.
Trump, there's no beating around the bush. Who you see is who you get 24/7. And a
Yeah,
lot of
yeah.
politicians don't have that. And I think that's what a lot of Americans are starting to now appreciate.
Mhm. It's funny, man. It's like Trump, a lot of the stuff he said, he would just say, and it would be the accurate stuff. But then other politicians and people that are like inside the government are like, how you're not supposed to say that stuff out loud.
Yeah.
But he would just say it. A lot of people hate him, man. And the problem is that he's a super, super divisive guy. I don't think he did a lot of, I mean, I don't think he did a lot of bad stuff. I think some of the stuff he did was really, really good. He helped, I mean, unemployment was super low. There was a lot of positive stuff that he did, but that doesn't ever show because he's super divisive.
Mhm.
But then again, he did some amazing things like North Korea, how he made peace with North Korea, South, like all that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
But the media still bashed on him. So then I'm
But
like,
he also brags about it too. Like everything he does, he goes right to Twitter. Like I'm the
oh
best
yeah,
president known to man. Like
yeah, yeah, yeah,
as soon as
yeah,
he
yeah. I
does
mean,
anything minor, it,
yeah,
it, makes,
dude,
it makes it unlikable for people.
exactly, exactly. And I don't think if he runs again, I don't think he's gonna win, man. I don't know. Like, I'm not
Yeah.
sure. I think personally, if I were to be a Republican, I would want Ron DeSantis instead, because he's like a more controlled version of Trump.
Mm.
Still super, super strong, has the strongest backbone, but he's just more cool, calm, collected, cool, calm, and collected. You know what I'm saying? So I think he would have a better shot, but I don't think he's gonna. I don't think he'll run, and he wouldn't run with like maybe as a vice president under Trump, maybe, but I don't know. We'll see.
So Canada has also another Thanksgiving. Like,
Mhm.
what's the origin of your Thanksgiving in Canada? I wonder. Always wonder.
Um, it's I think it's pretty similar, man. I don't know why the dates are different. I'm gonna be honest. Like I said, Canadian history has not really turned me on too much, so I don't really focus on it. Um, so I don't really have a good answer for you on that one. I think it's the same thing. It was discovered. It's same thing as like as the U.S. story, it's just a different date, from my understanding. You know.
Got you. Got you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I wish I had a better answer for you, man.
No
I don't.
pilgrims.
What was that?
No pilgrims.
They were pilgrims, but they were just pilgrims a bit more north. You know, like that's it. There's no story about for us. The story is the same. Christopher Columbus discovered North America, man. That's kind of our story too.
They had
From
slaves in Canada? Of
what?
course, right? They had slaves in Canada, right?
No, no
No
slaves in Canada.
slaves. Wow. Okay.
No. As a matter of fact, yeah, back when there were slaves in America, they would, the Underground Railroad.
Yeah.
So yeah, they would sneak up slaves out from the southern states, but even if they're in the northern states, they were still actually hunted, literally hunted, and brought back down. And there's like all these rules and stuff. So what they would do is they would bring them all the way up to like Buffalo, and because I own a lot of properties in Buffalo, a lot of real estate there. So whenever we're there, my business partner was kind of explaining to me the history behind it. There's this one stretch of this river where at night, slaves that ran away would swim across the river and be in Canada. And that's how they were actually, that's like the end goal for a lot of slaves, is to get into Canada, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
So Canada was definitely there were no slaves at all. It was like the haven for runaway slaves.
So in high school, did you always figure that you would be doing something like this?
Oh, bro, not at all, man. Not at all. Like I wanted to play in the NFL. I wanted to play in the NBA. I wanted all that kind of stuff.
At the CFL?
Oh, no one ever dreams of playing the CFL. Everyone always dreams of playing. Like, let's be honest here. But can you hear me, by the way? Because my audio just went funky.
Yeah, yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, nice. So no, man, I didn't want that. Even when I went to school for civil engineering. I graduated as a civil engineer from university. So technically, I'm a civil engineer, but I didn't work a single day as an engineer. I graduated, ended up getting a job doing this real estate stuff, and then started my own businesses, and here I am.
So what was your job before TikTok?
Well, it's actually continues to be the same. So I do a lot of Shopify drop shipping, stuff like that. I've been doing that well, okay. So the whole story is that back in 2016, I had about 20 grand saved up and I wanted to start an online business, right? I wanted to start online marketing. I saw all these people like traveling the world, doing all this cool stuff. And then being able to work from anywhere and making good money. And I was like, this is the coolest thing ever. I want to figure out how to do that. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So I ended up trying something called Amazon FBA. I don't know if you ever heard of that. It's just basically selling. So yeah, it's basically selling on Amazon. So I was like, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do Amazon FBA. I'm going to become a millionaire like next week. Obviously, it's how we all think, right?
Mm-hmm.
I had 20 grand left, put it all into that business, lost all my money in like 3 months. Right.
Ouch.
So I had no money, couldn't afford rent. It was our Thanksgiving, October of 2016, Thanksgiving Day, first day I slept in my car. And I ended up sleeping in my car for 30 days because I couldn't afford to pay rent. In that time, I got a telemarketing job so I could pay for something, so I can sleep on a bed again. I got a job really fast. Within literally 30 days, I was sleeping in a bed again. I didn't tell anyone I was doing this, by the way. Like I didn't tell my family, my parents. I didn't tell anyone. I was embarrassed about it. And at the same time, it was like, I put myself in this mess. I'm going to figure it out myself. I'm not going to lean on anybody.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? That's been my mentality for everything. So I ended up, basically doing that. 30 days later, slept in a bed, and about, I was working as a telemarketer, making terrible money. It was like I make like 3 to 4 grand a month. Okay. And I always wanted to make more. So I was like, I have to like figure this out. This is not where I'm going to stay. I'm not going to last like this. I always had that fire to like work, do my own thing. So in 2017, I decided to try Shopify dropshipping. Right. So I learned how to do that, ended up doing pretty good in that. Was able to make it my full-time thing super, super fast. And yeah, my first year, I had some really good revenues. By year 2, my revenues were like 1.5 million. And, last year we did almost 2 million. Yeah. So I've done like a lot of revenue on that. But in the same time, I've also kind of opened myself up to doing a lot of other online marketing. So now I do, I work with insurance companies. I work with home renovation companies, all that kind of stuff to bring them customers. And I do tons of work like that. So that's where like my focus is. TikTok is just something fun. Like I didn't expect it to even go anywhere. The whole story behind that is that I basically, I was in acting. Like I was an actor and I had acted in some movies and I loved it. Funny enough, I actually met up with my acting coach just earlier today, just to catch up with him. Shout out Walter Alza. So anyways, he actually, I was kind of doing classes with him, getting gigs. And I was like, you know what? I think the best way for me to get leverage in an audition is for me to have a following online. And I didn't really have a following at the time. I was like, here's what I'm going to do. And by the way, I'm super caffeinated at 1 a.m. in the morning. Okay. Taking a shower, shaking from caffeine, trying to get tired to go to sleep. And I'm like, you know what I'm gonna do? There's this green screen feature on TikTok. Why don't I just say a story, have pictures in the background? I know tons of cool stories, and then I'll post it. Acting is pretty much storytelling. So like I'm gonna post it to my Instagram and grow my Instagram following. So I ended up posting on TikTok, got the first video I did was a two-parter. After I posted part one, I started doing part two. By the time I was done part two, part one already had thousands of views. I already had hundreds of followers. I was like, what the heck? This is the coolest thing ever.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was hyped. I was hooked. That night, I stayed up until 10 a.m. So 10 hours straight, pretty much, making videos, making content. And I was hooked ever since then. So that's kind of how all that started.
Oh.
Yeah.
So
It was out of nowhere.
at what point did you realize you had the ability to do TikTok full time?
Well, it wasn't, I didn't even try to monetize TikTok until I was at about 1 million followers. So I didn't do anything. I didn't like monetize it at all.
And that was
And
before the Creator Fund too, right?
I don't even, in Canada, we don't have the creator fund.
Really?
I don't get paid on anything from TikTok.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. It's stupid, man. Just add it to the list of reasons why America's better.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah. Look, man, Canada has some great things, just also has some things I don't agree with. But anyways, yeah, that's one annoying thing about it with creator funds. But yeah, man. So I basically learned about different ways to promote on TikTok, put out an ad one time, ended up making like $1,000 off that in like 2 hours. I was like, oh, this is for real. So ever since then, I was like, this is a really cool way to do it. I don't want to overdo it. And I'm fortunate enough because I'm already making a lot of money, like fortunately in my other businesses. So for me, it's always been something that I might drop like 2 or 3 ads a month, but for me, I don't need to make that much off of it.
Got you. So
Yeah.
what made you choose your niche?
Um, like with these stories and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It was just I just love telling stories, man. I was one of the first people I think to come up with like doing videos with the green. At least I'd never seen anyone do green screen and like say the story before I did it. It was like my thing, but then everyone else started doing it. There's a lot of other people that do it now. But yeah, I think I was one of the first on TikTok to do it. I started December 5th, 2019. So I was pretty early in the game.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that worked to your advantage. That was before
Oh yeah.
quarantine. So
Oh yeah. By quarantine, I already had like 500,000 followers, or probably a bit more than that. So yeah, and then when quarantine happened, views just shot up because everyone was just on TikTok or Instagram all day. It was funny because my views shot up on TikTok, which obviously is good, and because everyone's on Instagram and Facebook, all my online marketing stuff got cheaper, right? Because everyone's on it, so there's a lot more. It's just supply and demand, right? So it was actually, I mean, I was really, really fortunate, man. I had a pretty profitable time then. I tried giving, I did like different giveaways and stuff for people that were struggling, but it was financially a good time, but the whole quarantine was bad.
right.
In Canada, we only got indoor dining like August.
Yeah, I
East
know.
Ontario.
Yeah, y'all was shut down hard. Y'all was
Yeah,
shut down hard.
dude.
Like couldn't go
They
nowhere.
were they were arresting pastors for doing like church sessions. Like,
Wow.
oh, dude, yeah, it was bad, man.
Wow.
It was really bad. Like, so I'm saying Canadians, I feel like they just don't. The American value of freedom is not really as important to a lot of Canadians, which it bothers me a lot because like there's a lot of great people here. It's a great country. Like it looks nice. There's so many cool places to see, but people are, I feel, allow the government to push them over, and
You know Steven Crowder?
you know, I
Yo,
know Stephen Crowder. Is he Canadian?
he's very much so Canadian.
Is
Like
he? I
he
thought,
he
was he
craps on the
Canadian and
Canadian.
American?
He was born in Canada. I'm not sure what age he left. He was relatively young though, I believe. I want to say like 10 or 11, but don't quote me on that.
Hmm.
And then he came to America and he craps on the Canadian government
Well,
religiously.
yeah. Well, him and I would definitely get along, man, because I definitely agree with that.
Like I saw a story of like a comedian telling a joke, I think about like a transsexual at a comedy club, and they were thrown in jail.
What?
Like they were thrown
Going
in
to
jail.
jail? I didn't see that. I don't know about that story. I'd have to look it up.
Yeah, man.
That's nuts.
Yeah,
Like I said, there's like freedom of speech is not a thing in Canada. People think it is. It's not.
so like even on Twitter, is there censorship there?
They tried to. I
Oh.
think I don't remember the exact name. It might have been Bill C-182 or something. I don't remember the name,
Mhm.
but they were trying to do it. It got repealed. Like I don't know how anyone can be okay with that. How can you
For
possibly
real.
be okay? Why can the government decide what you can say?
Right.
Like
Jordan
how?
Peterson.
Yep.
But he
Jordan
fought he
Peterson is
fought for
Canadian.
that. He fought for that.
Yeah, yeah. Because there was a time where if you didn't call someone by their pronoun, they wanted to fine you or send you to jail. But he was like, look, if someone wants me to call them whatever pronoun, he's like, I'll call them whatever pronoun they want. But if I don't want to do that, I shouldn't have to be sent to jail.
Yeah, you can't
You
force
know,
me to say
and I
what
agree with that, man. I have complete respect for everybody. Like I don't.
you
To me, you want me to call you he, she, whatever it is, makes no difference to my life.
hmm
But if you tell me if I don't do that, you're going to call the cops and arrest me. That's where we have a problem. You
Right.
can't. That's you can't do that.
Yeah, I would agree with that because a lot of people like say hypothetically you identify as they or something like that. If I was to say he referring to you, a lot of people will get offended. First time ever meeting you. Some people get offended, like, no, I don't go by that, I mean, really make a
Yeah,
scene.
yeah,
How
yeah.
was I supposed like aesthetically you look like he.
How like yeah like how am I supposed to like? I didn't know. I understand now,
Yeah.
but you
At least
can't be
give me the
upset with me for
one.
not knowing. You got to tell me.
Yeah, at least give me the one.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Like, I mean, I think anytime I've come across it, they've been pretty respectful and just corrected. And I was like, oh, perfect. Okay, now I know. I don't care. It makes no difference in my life. You just can't send me to jail if I do the wrong thing or choose to not say it. That's not how. That's not a criminal. You know.
I agree.
So, yeah, man, that is one thing. Jordan Peterson did fight against that pretty good, and I mean, he's a very eloquent speaker. You know,
Mhm.
if you get him up there, I mean, he's
Yeah.
very logical and stuff. So
Yeah,
it is
man.
very interesting to watch him speak. I like
I
the
like
guy.
Jordan Peterson a lot.
Yeah.
Long-winded with his answers, but definitely a eloquent speaker
Mm.
for sure. So how do you come up with your TikTok ideas?
Anything, man. Anything. I just scroll through things. Anything I find interesting. I used to read a lot of books. I still do. But I read a lot. Watch a lot of documentaries. You know, a lot of the time when I'm like eating, I'll just be watching stuff about history. Anything I see something interesting, I'll be like, oh, this is sick. Let me talk about
Right.
this. Right? Anything interesting in the news. I follow, and I don't try to follow the news too much. Honestly, before COVID, I wasn't following it at all because I thought it would be it was just always negative, and it is still always negative. But now it's a lot more relevant to what I'm trying to do.
With the news,
So the news, yeah,
I actually wrote like because I graduated with a degree in journalism. I have a
nice.
blog and I actually wrote about how much I freaking despise the news.
Mhm.
I absolutely hate it because it's like 95% negative.
Exactly,
Uh,
exactly. It's all. I mean, what is it? Basically, bad news sells. There's a
mhm.
there's a
Yeah.
there's a term for it, but yeah. So you want to sell. It's easier to sell blood.
I
you
mean,
know.
if they were to report everything that went on well in the world, they wouldn't. Well, if everything's perfect, I have no need to check on the news, do I? So
Exactly,
I
exactly.
I
The thing
get it.
is, though, what's really messed up is that except independent journalists and stuff like that, like, the problem is that everyone's following the media, CNN, MSNBC, Fox. Problem is that those are private companies. Okay. If I am so I own a lot of businesses. Okay. I'm not going to put something out there in my business that hurts me.
Okay.
So if I'm an owner of Fox or CNN,
Mhm.
I'm going to be pushing my own agenda.
So they're biased. Yeah, they're all
It is
biased.
what it is. It's like it's a product. You're being served a product. Okay. People have to realize that it is just simply a product. Then you have to decide, do you accept this product or not? Right?
hmm
It's like it's like smoking. Remember back in the day, there were like, I don't know, I mean, we're both pretty young, but back in the day, there were ads of like people smoking and how cool it is and how doctors are saying it's all
And how
good.
it's beneficial for you.
Exactly. That's the news. That's the company selling its product. These mainstream media sources are doing the exact same thing. Now we know all of that smoking, all those ads are BS. I hope in the future we then know that all of those mainstream medias, all of those are BS. And I hope one day we do realize that.
Fun fact about that. You know how like vaping is pretty popular right now?
Mhm.
So that's the same thing that they did with cigarettes. It was advertised of being beneficial for you, and it wasn't until years later until we started having a lot more data on cigarettes and tobacco and the damage it does to your body. Only after that were we told that it's not good for you. I
Mhm.
think because the vaping thing is like really relatively new, we don't have enough information on it,
Yeah.
and I think down the line is gonna have a lot of repercussions for people.
Yeah, man, I think there's some really big issues with vaping. It's mainly how easy it is to do it indoors. Look, I don't vape. I have a lot of friends that do. People really close to me do. I don't. It is what it is.
Oh my god,
But
bro!
but the fact that you could just be like here, just doing it. Problem is that you do it a lot more, and that
Yeah.
could be pretty bad for your health. I mean, it is what it is. Then you get hooked on it.
Mhm.
Hooked, right? It's like me. Like right now, I'm drinking decaf coffee.
Mhm.
I already had 2 coffees today, and I just enjoy the process of it. At least this doesn't
Mm.
like kill my lungs.
The
You know what I'm saying?
habit. It's just a habit. Second nature at this point.
Exactly, exactly.
Mhm.
So it's like pretty dangerous for vaping how often you can do, at least when you smoke, which is still I health wise is probably a worse habit,
Yeah, I agree.
but it depends on the volume. If you're smoking 1 time a day or 2 times a day versus vaping 1,000 times a day, at one point vaping is going to catch up to how bad it is for your health. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So I mean, I don't know. I don't never looked at the numbers. I just don't think. I mean, I'm sure it's not the healthiest option. It's
Mhm.
not the healthiest habit, at least.
Honestly, if you're a grown man pushing 30 with cherry mint blossom on your breath, man, I don't know. I am a bit skeptical. I'm a bit skeptical. I don't understand, like, and I think vaping has to have a certain cutoff. Like, you pushing 40 still with gumdrop rainbows on your breath. That's there has to be a cutoff for that.
Yeah,
That's the
yeah,
same
yeah.
thing with
I feel
hookah.
you, man. I feel you. Look, I mean, I'm gonna be honest. 99% of people I see doing it are smoking mint. So maybe they think it's like good for the breath. I don't know. Like it must taste good. I've never done it honestly because I'm scared if I do it once, I'm gonna do it all the time.
Yeah, yeah. I'm,
So,
I'm kind of I'm kind of the same way. That's why I never did coke.
that is very good.